I've been working on bowl design and trying to figure out what to do. And Ray Simmons had worked with me on a key canton curve, which is a hanging chain. So hanging it, here, I'll show you my little thing I have. What I did was I have this right next to my lathe, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but I have clips that I move around based on the width and depth of what I think a blank will be. So that gives me my basic shape.
So that's a hanging chain between two clips, right? And so that gives you what's called a catenary curve, yeah?
Correct. Yes.
That's the shape you're going to try and make.
Yeah, and I had problems with just looking at it straight up, but turning sideways. So what I did was, and this isn't the right one, but I've created these little templates that I use. Now the chain's not set right, but if the chain was set to this depth and width, it would give me that curve. And then what I do is,
That's a nice approach, Bill. There's a demo top.
and then I take a bowl. My bowl is this is a blank. It's half once first turn or second time, getting ready to do second turn. Then I create this and I hold it against my bowl. The top is the top of my bowl, and the side there, I sometimes have to fold this in because of my foot or whatever I'm holding it, and that gets me my shape to what I'm at least closer to what I want to do. So that's just an easy way. That's a way that I've been working with because I really don't have my eye quite calibrated for doing bowls very well. And there's another one. Yeah, that's how I do it. And I don't get the credit. I mean, that's from Ray, because a lot of times what I was doing before, and I don't have one that I have. Here's one. This is one I turned quite a while back, and they turn out to be, and you might want something deep, but to me, that's really fat down through here.
Not an attractive.
So it's just not as attractive. Now, if I want a deep bowl, straight sided, that's fine, but it's not what I like. I like something more to this shape because it's just more pleasing to my eye.
Well, you just.
So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, what I do as far as some of my bowls and designs.
Bill, I like the fact that you've done that down through the base. The way you folded that piece of cardboard back to do the turning also means that you've made that curve. Your eye sees that curve right through to the base, even though you don't cut it properly. Cut it out, so you watch it right through to the foot, which is a really excellent thing to have.
Exactly.
Yeah, I try to do as much as I can because the line helps me see where to me it's fat. Now, when I look at that, I'm still a little fat through here, but I have plenty of thickness to work with. This is just a first turn, so, but it gives me my basic shape that I'm shooting for. And sometimes I'll play with the little foot in the bottom just to see what it looks like, and then go from there. Sometimes I take it off, sometimes I don't.
The other thing is, how do you know what the perfect shape is? I think that's a really personal, intuitive choice. There's no standard out there, is there? Or
No, those kind of geometric shapes, parabolas and catenary shapes and elliptical shapes, the eye likes those.
Okay, now that I would believe.
Yeah, and just as because I'm a geek, I actually have a spreadsheet with all kinds of different bowl shapes, trying to figure out what it would look like. So I have one for catenary curve I can throw in there too, that if I wanted to print the shape out that way.
Well, I saw you with that chain hanging on graph paper too. That looked like a really good idea.
Yeah, that was the simplest for me, right in front of my lathe. I usually where that sits. And you can, the brown on there is wet wood that splattered all over it. So I think I need to print a new one of these.
Yeah.
But that's what I put that up there just to kind of give me a good idea of what I want to see and how it wants to be.
Yeah.
And it's easy enough to change just because you can just move this over here and move this down here, and there's the next shape.
Is that on a magnetic board or it's a pin? Oh, it's a pin.
No, it's pins. Pins with a cork board.
Yeah. Very
It's
clever.
a bulletin board.
Very clever.
Very simple.
That's really really a clever solution to the problem. Very nice. Definitely
I've
apply.
I've been listening recently to a book tape on a scientist in England, Hooke, that we know about as Hooke's law, but apparently St. Paul's Cathedral dome is an inverse catenary curve because that's the strongest thing you can get. And also, the other thing that was mentioned is using a net as opposed to a catenary curve for suspending a wire. You can actually put grooves or something like that. If you want to carve it further, you can literally hang the net around so that it'll show you how to make the grooves and continue to be catenary curves all the way, multiple catenary curves, which is a really neat idea.
Hey, Jim, you were asking about shapes, and there were some good books written about ceramic forms. I'll have to find one for you, but that's, I think, a good starting point for just general shape approaches for wood turning.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my library of things that I take pictures of that I think would be good bowls when I was in Greece. A couple of the Macedonian and early Greek pottery are very interesting shapes. Some are pretty straightforward, but they have some really, really interesting shapes. So I've been working with that kind of form also.
Yeah, I do a lot of screen grabbing off of the internet or off of wherever and keep those and keep them out in the shop. And when I get inquiring, I go look through them and see if any of them connect with me. That's the way I do it. I don't sketch them.
Yeah, and Richard reference books are really, really good also.
Yeah. And your eye will, after a while, your eye gets to be able to tell shapes you like and shapes you don't. And you can go.
Yeah.
In
By the
regards,
Yeah,
way,
that's what I'm trying to develop.
I
regards
found
to shapes,
reference.
there's another tool that might be valuable, and that's using the Fibonacci ratio. And you can
Yes.
make a little tool for that. If you combine this catenary curve with the Fibonacci ratios, you're going to get shapes that are just naturally pleasing to the eye, as John mentioned.
Yeah.
I'd show you the tool I made, but I gave it away at the last woodchuck.
What do you mean?
Club.
Takes the two numbers that are adjacent in the Fibonacci series, one for the diameter and one for the height, and then hang the catenary curve on that. And you'll have a really nice curve to the eye and a nice general proportion as well.
Exactly.
By the way,
And the
yeah,
Fibonacci ratio tools you can buy online or just make your own.
Yeah, 1.16 to 1, roughly. Very close to the eyes.
1.1617, but who's counting?
Who's counting?
I think I showed this one before. It's fairly inexpensive off Amazon or whatever, but it's a tattoo or a people that do eyebrows. They've got a Fibonacci scale as a tool, and they're readily available at a reasonable cost.
that's the one I use. I bought one. I was laughing about the fact that it's used for eyebrows, but anyway, so.
Speaking of the Fibonacci gauge, I do the same thing. I found this in a scrap pile, and I use the Fibonacci gauge then to figure out my proportions on a bowl, like you were talking about.
What do you do for the shape? How do you get that?
Eyeball it.
Eyeball.
I like the chain idea. I'm going to go to that one.
I think that's a real bonus.
This month's Lancaster Woodturning challenge was to do a historical piece based on some type of history or historical. So let me, I'm going to try to share my screen real quick. When I was in Crete, I took some pictures of these bowls.
Love that shape.
And I really enjoyed the shape. See if I can go to the next one. Maybe not. There it is. And there's another one. These are all ceramic bowls, and they're very, very thin. I love the shape. I love the
Are they ceramic or are they carved alabaster?
No, this does look like alabaster, but I think it is ceramic.
Because in those days, they would have used the lathe as a work holder to make something that looked like that wouldn't actually be turned. It would be mostly braided.
Yeah, according to what I could find, it said it's just been marbleized surface.
Wow, it's gorgeous.
Which is pretty amazing. Uh,
Bill, is the base turned on one piece with the bowl?
well, these were all ceramic, so I don't know how they were actually, but it does look like it's one piece when I went on the picture at the museum in Crete. These are Minoan, so these are 1600 to 1450 BC. So they're very, very old.
Well,
You
that
can
base
see
is attached. It looks like it's the width is divided into three, and then the base is centered. It's like,
right.
yeah.
In actuality, since you brought that up, I'll just mention this is the shape of this, especially the black one, is actually a catenary curve
Yeah.
that extends up past the rim. So if you hold a chain, half inch or so, and these are only 5 to 6 inches. They're not really big bowls. And also the inside lip or the outside lip that you see there is also catenary curve on 2 different heights. So they just kind of turn out that way when I was doing my planning and design work on these. You can see the inside, they vary in style. This the more grayish one has a rounded one, and the black one has much more of a gentle curve the whole way down to the inside bowl shape.
What do we think those would have been used for?
They said they were used for drinking.
Okay.
You put things in it, and then you hold it in your hands, and then you tilt it up to drink. I believe that's what they were.
You get your lip right in the groove there.
Yeah, yeah. It makes it
Okay.
easier, I guess, to do that. So I really enjoyed that design. So what I did based on that design, I created 2 bowls. This one, and you can see it's kind of, I'll hold it back so the light is a little better on the shape. And I put a small foot there, and it has the lip. Yeah, I'll get a little closer.
Yeah.
And then on the inside, I made a rounded piece and then straight down in, which I found getting that transition between the bowl side and the lip coming down very, very difficult to do. Mostly from tear outs and getting really, really clean. And I also have a lot of problems right in this little tiny cube, which I'm not good at. That's all new to me. So the color of this one turned out really good because I like the gray. The wood is naturally gray on the inside. That's a little glare there. You can see in through here, it's more gray.
What do you think that is? English walnut looks like from here.
Well, it was more. I was told it was maple.
Okay, maple it is. It also looks like that. Yeah.
So I also did another one based on the more darker one, and this one I used India ink for the black and used white India ink just to spritz with a brush and just flicking with my bristles onto the side to give it's almost like a starry night, but it gives a nice, I'll see if I can get a little closer.
That's really nice.
You can see the shape of that. That one also is a little more exaggerated lip on here. And this is poplar. So, and I tried to bring this around more and bring it down instead of being quite so straight, more rounded into the base, into the bowl portion. So, the light's a little harsh here, so I apologize for that, but
great stuff.
It does have some chatoyance in it and all.
It's about forest bathing. In Japanese, Shinrin-yoku, something like this. And it's about going to a forest, relaxing there by listening to the bird song, inhaling the nice smells, and whatever relaxes you when you go to a forest. And yeah, the problem is sometimes you are too far away from the forest, and I decided to make a forest in a box. The box is 50 by 50 by 50 millimeters or 2 inches by 2 inches by 2 inches. So a rather small thing. And unboxing, you find the forest pieces, and then you put them together. And now you can imagine and relax with your own little forest on your desk.
Do you think about dyeing the trees green?
Well, I could do, yeah. Either that, or maybe I will try to find some more interesting wood as well for the trees, so I can leave them natural. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very clever.
So
Very
you
clever.
also made the box and printed the box?
No, I bought the box, and what it says on the top, handgemacht is handmade.
Oh,
I have got a stempel, or what is that in English? A stamp or something like that?
Embossing thing, a stamp or a rubber
Yeah,
stamp.
yeah. So you use ink and put it onto the, or
Rubber,
into the ink, and then you put it
rubber
onto
stamp.
the box. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Kai, I thought those were mushrooms.
Let's go back to
Well,
the slide that shows the four of them, the other sets, the
they are meant
variations.
to be trees.
Let's see the variations again.
Okay, so here are
There,
some
that one.
variations. I basically tried different bases, like that was the one you saw or you have already seen. I tried a round one and then slices of yew tree.
So
Yeah,
these are really tiny, aren't they? I mean, the trees must be about what, half an inch, 12,
yeah,
13 millimeters.
yeah. They are really tiny. That's
Yeah.
right. And these two, of course, they don't fit into the box. They are too big for the box, but they look nice as well with the
So Kai,
this
now you
slice.
have to make some tiny bunny rabbits put under there,
Yeah,
and,
awesome.
and maybe a few small birds that stand in the tree.
Yeah, and then even smaller mushrooms, maybe.
Yeah.
I like the archipelago, Kai.
Um, what is that?
The archipelago, the islands on the right side. They're like little islands.
Ah, all right. Yeah, now I get it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Any more questions and comments? More slides, Guy?
Yes, yes, there are some more.
Well, go for
So
it.
if this does not work for relaxation, there is an alternative. You can do the same thing. It's spinning top therapy. And maybe that explains the shape of the trees a little bit.
So do they all spin?
They all spin, yes.
Oh my gosh.
The bigger ones and also the smaller ones.
That's very clever.
Okay.
Why
And
don't you make the base, turn the base over and let that be the spinning platform?
yeah, I could try that. But then it's rather a small platform.
Well, it's a rather small spinning top.
Yeah, you can only spin one then on the platform, one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be an idea. Okay, and so the grooves are about 1 millimeter in width, so they are rather small. And I made two tools to make them. First, I cut this little kind of parting tool from a bandsaw plate that is 1 millimeter thick. I cut a strip with an angle grinder and then ground it to shape and put it into a handle which has actually got a round hole for taking round tool shanks. But if the screws here are long enough, you can also put a rectangular piece of metal into this and hold it with the screws. So they are really handy for these small homemade tools. And the problem with this is it flexes a little bit, and as it was a bandsaw plate, it is not completely straight. It's still a little bit bent. So I decided to grind another tool from HHS tool stock. I think, John, you talked about these blanks at another occasion where you said you make scrapers from them and things like that. So it's just 2mm by 6mm HHS stock, and I ground it down to 1mm thickness here. And I realized it is important to round over the edges down here where you put it onto your tool rest so that you don't damage the tool rest with these sharp edges. I left them on the top because they don't touch the tool rest, but at the bottom I rounded it over, and there's still enough contact area between the tool and the tool rest to get a nice cut. And the tip is anyway is in the middle here, so it doesn't matter whether this is round or this is round. Okay, right, that's it.
All right.
Hi, on that tool, is the bottom part of it concave or convex on the tip?
On the tip, it's concave. This is concave and this is concave, and the reason is that I just use my round grinding wheel on the grinder to grind these two sides, so they are both rounded. And the angle here is about 60 degrees. So this is ground at 15 degrees, and this is ground at 45 degrees, and that gives an angle of around 60 degrees between these two, and that seems to work with these small pieces and rather soft wood, or not wood that isn't too hard.
Yeah, that would work nicely.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
More comments for Kai? That's very, very, very clever, Kai.
Yeah, thank you.
Very much in the tradition of German toy making and European toy making, you know, the sorts of wooden toys that do clever things. Little ducks with eggs that roll and things like that.
Yeah, I like to play around with spinning tops. I showed these little forests in a box for forest bathing and playing with spinning tops, and there were two suggestions. John asked about using color in these, and I decided to leave the wood natural, but as a compromise, I turned 3 little mushrooms, and they've got color on it. They're about 1/8 of an inch in diameter, or 3mm in diameter, and the stem is 1mm. So they add some color or some additional color, and they give you the proportion. Some people suggested to use or turn little birds or animals or something like this. I decided that is too difficult, but the mushrooms work quite well. So,
and what size lathe are you turning those on?
it's a mini lathe.
Okay. And you're turning them like on the end of a piece, like you have a piece in the chuck and you're turning them out in the air, is that right?
Yes, I do. I use these sticks that you use for barbecues to put meat on.
Skewers.
Yeah. And I have a collet chuck, and I can just put a skewer through the collet chuck, have maybe an inch protruding from the collet chuck, turn one mushroom, then part it off, and then advance the skewer a little bit, turn the next mushroom, and so on. So wood preparation is no topic in this case, and it's quite quick to turn the mushrooms. The only problem was putting the little dots on them. This takes some magnifying glasses and a very, very small brush. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Let me have a look whether I've got any more. Yeah. So here are some more. And the base is only 2 inches by 2 inches, or 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. So the mushrooms are really small. Another one and one more.
Do the mushrooms spin top as well?
No, they don't. I glued them in. The other ones you can take out and use as spin tops, but the mushrooms don't. And they are actually too small. You couldn't spin them. The mass is too low, so you don't get them turning.
That's a really clever design you figured out there. Very, very nice. Very, very clever.
Ty, could you go back to the previous slide? You've got some different woods, and I was wondering if you could identify what those woods are. Like,
Not this one.
Yeah, the previous, before that one. What
Yeah.
can you identify the species of wood you've used in those?
Yeah. The brown one, this is walnut. This is red heart, the more kind of round one here. And this is I don't know exactly what it is. It came off an old picture frame that was broken, and I cut it into strips and turned these mushrooms from it. I think it is some kind of exotic wood, maybe mahogany or something like that.
So the stem is part of the trees, right? It's not a second a dowel glued in.
With these four, it's part of the trees. And let me have a look. This one I turned separately.
Okay, so we're looking here at 8 or 9 turnings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What always gets me with these kinds of things, they look so cool when you get them done, but they're not quite so simple when you go to make, oh, wait a minute, there's 9 turnings here.
Yeah, and this is a tippy top, by the way, the bush or bush. Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, that's cool. I always like tippy tops. I never can get it right. I've tried it 100 times. Well, not that many, but enough to not know how to do it yet.
Yeah. It's a bit of a problem to spin them because this is about 15 millimeters in diameter. So the stem of the tippy top needs to have a certain relation to the diameter of the tippy top. And this has a rather short stem to make it turn or flip over. And that's a bit of a problem with these small tippy tops to get or hold the stem when you want to spin them, but it works.
So I turned this goblet.
You had that at the Mid-Atlantic, right?
I did.
That
I had
was
it
terrific, yeah.
And it's the first, and I tried to start bending it, and this is what I came up with. And you find out that once you bend something like this, it doesn't stand anymore. Trying to get it in. Can you guys see that?
You have to bring it closer to your body.
Oh, okay.
And then lift it up. There you go. Now we can see it.
There we go. And so what I did is I wind up just making a base for it. I made this out of a 2x6, just cut at 5.5 square. I got the idea from Rudy Lopez, and it worked out pretty well.
What was the species of the 2x6? Do you know? Was it Doug fir?
Doug fir, and the goblet is maple with the captive ring. And
at what point in the process did you turn the ring?
After I turned the cup part, then I turned the ring somewhere down in here.
Okay.
Yeah. But the way I bent it is you take a card scraper and kind of flatten it out. I don't know if you can tell by the pictures, this is kind of flattened out.
Yeah.
I think I turned this one to around 1/4 inch or so, and then flattened it, and then bent it on like a 2-inch pipe that I heat with a torch.
Well, that's what guitar makers do to make the sides of guitars. So hot pipe bend.
Exactly.
Basically, you're steaming it on the pipe.
Right.
Nice.
So you could put a weight somewhere in here. Like I've seen people put like a big nail in it or something like that, but it takes quite a bit of weight. You'd be surprised. Like when I first did it, I was gonna glue a heavy, I don't know, 2.5-inch washer to the base of this thing, and that was nowhere near enough.
Yeah, you're way overhang there. You got a long lever arm.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So,
Hey, how wet was the stem whenever you started to bend it? Was it really wet or was it dry?
this piece of wood was fairly dry, but you wet it before you bend it. You wet it. I keep wetting it and going easy. Just taking your time, bending it and getting the bends the way you want it.
Do you soak it or do you spray it or how do you do that?
I just put wet sponge. I have a glass of water and a wet sponge, and I just keep it wet.
And then you steam it on the hot pipe, and it's kind of to that water where you put on the stem where you want to bend. That kind of comes off as steam as it bends.
You don't see a lot of steam. Yeah, it does steam, but you don't see a lot. It's more heat, and you're just keeping the wood wet. I guess keeping the fibers wet so they bend.
Okay.
You just got to be careful doing it. If you hear a crack, you went a little too far.
Oh, well. Okay, how many did you make before you got that one?
Just one.
Okay.
Made one other one. Yeah.
Very nice stuff. Now, you had some other terrific stuff at the Mid-Atlantic. You got that there with you right now?
I do. If you want to give me a second, I can grab it.
Before you leave that, can I ask a quick question? Have you ever tried using like a steam kettle to steam your wood as opposed to just moistening it with water?
I haven't. I actually saw this at one of the symposiums. I don't remember if it might have been Saratoga, or did somebody do this in Atlantic?
I saw it. I've seen it before, but there's a guy who on the demo circuit who does that. I don't remember his name though.
Yeah, it might have been. Was it in Pennsylvania though, or was it? Do you remember?
I thought Saratoga, but maybe.
Yeah, I think I probably saw it in Saratoga a few years ago.
Yeah,
and I finally got around to doing one. But they're pretty cool. They're different.
Hey, Gerry, so have you ever thought about, instead of doing two bends and offset, do just a complete circle like a garlic scape?
Yeah, there's a lot of things you could play around with. You got to get long though. The longer you make them, the more options you have. This one,
Okay.
This one started out at about 13 inches.
Did you pay attention closely to the grain when you picked a piece of wood, making sure you had a good straight grain, or is it, how important was it?
Yeah, this is I believe it's sugar maple, and the grain was pretty straight on this piece.
Yeah, that would be certainly an advantage, real straight piece. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Stupid question. How do you get the wire up to the light?
Say it again.
How do you get the wire up to the light?
The wire.
He's imagining it's a lamp.
That's what I was imagining it. You got to bore your wood first, put the wire in, then bend it.
Exactly.
In the old days, when they bent things, they rived the piece so you got nice straight grain.
Yeah, that would be the way to go for sure.
I just wanted to show off a couple of apples that I should show my first one. This is my first apple. I think they're both poplar, and they're a little square, so I'm working on the squareness. And then I watched Mike Peace's videos. They were really helpful. I used the piece of clove for the bottom of the apple, and I also used the lathe to make the stem and cut it at an angle and then drilled at an angle to put the stem into the apple. I'm working on my shaping. They look like delicious apples, and I had a Macintosh as my demo apple, so it should have been a little bit rounder. But overall, I'm quite happy with my apples.
Are you thinking of dyeing them red or pink?
I don't know. That's I'm still going to get the shape first, and then I might dye them. But
Comments for Dianne.
Dianne, I'm so frugal. It pained me to pay $8 for a bottle of cloves that I knew I was only going to use a half a dozen cloves for a few apples and then move on.
You have to make more, Mike.
May I make a suggestion to get you some idea of getting your profiler for an apple?
Okay, sure.
Is to
Certainly.
get a real apple and cut it dead in half. That will give you more of a direction of how that apple actually configurates around the base. It's something I've taught a lot of my students here because they always come up a little bit square. But if you cut an apple in half and look at it, you'll see the profile of that apple much easier than looking at a whole apple. And the same with the
Okay, okay, I'll try that because I had drawn it, but that's different than cutting it in half. So I'll give that a go. Thanks very much, Don.
That's a
you
good
cut it in
turning
half,
exercise.
once you cut it in half, take the apple. Once you cut it in half,
and
put it on a piece of brown paper bag,
Yeah.
and push it down. And then when you take it off, you'll have the imprint on the bag. You can just put a magnet and hang that by your lathe. Then the apple can rot. Doesn't.
And then don't forget to eat the apple.
I love the clove idea. That's really great. This is a real small top. It's a delicious apple because what I did with it then, and once I had it on the lathe, you just used a carving tool, a small gouge, and I gouged out so you can see the difference in the sides. So it looks a little more like a delicious apple. But the clove idea is a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that a box, Dave?
No, this is just a top for spinning.
Yeah. How's it spin? Can we see it?
Oh, it spins really well.
You cut them in half, but what I did after that was put a piece of clear wrap on the scanner and scan it, and that way you have paper already there. You've got an outline, a perfect outline of the fruit, and it's just a suggestion, but I like to take it one more, and that automatically gives you a paper copy. You can file it, etc. So look, that's it.
Great. Another great tip.
So I'll just go on and I'll show you the product at the end. I'm just showing this for the techniques. This is a piece of timber, which is 3 1/4 by 6.5 inches long. And I'm roughing it down just to a cylinder. Hello, it's not working. Bear with me.
Try your arrow keys.
Oh, there we are.
There it is.
There it is. Once I've got it round, I'm now putting a spigot onto the end to be able to chuck this piece so that I'm able to turn the rest of the product. Now I'm marked off with a jig. I've marked off 40 millimeters from the right hand side to here, the pencil mark, and I'm just going to take that down to 75 mil. And then when I've got this piece down to 75 mil,
which is about 3 inches.
Which is about 3 inches. It is smaller, as you can see, than the main body of the piece of wood. I'm facing off the base of this particular piece, throwing it up and taking it down. And you sound difficult. I've got my hand in the way, but you can see some rings coming on the base, which are those rings there. Now this is the base of the piece. So I put the rings in, I'm sanding it, and I will polish it before going on to the next piece.
You sand and finish each surface as you go, don't you? As you complete it, you'll sand and finish it right there.
On that particular end, yes, I do.
I generally do that too. I prefer to work that way.
Yeah. So then...
Do you use the fingernail gouge all the time for smoothing off the end, or do you use a bowl gouge, a different bowl gouge?
No, I've used the 3/8 spindle gouge, Doug, to face off. I used the roughing gouge on the original piece, on the first photo. That was a roughing gouge. Now I'm using the 3/8 spindle gouge with a swept back grind. Now you will notice that there's a pencil mark on the right hand side here. that is 10 millimeters. And I've marked another pencil line here, which is my parting off line, because I only want, what's the size? It's 35 mil for taking this piece down. And the next photo will show you what I've done. I'm taking that down. This is the base of the piece. You've got the dip and you've now got a lip here. Now make that lip slightly longer, and this is my parting off line. Once I have this to shape, again, I sand it down and polish.
Which
And
side of that line are you going to part, Don?
Sorry, John?
Which side of that line are you going to part?
On the right-hand side.
All right.
Okay. And I take it down when I part it off to roughly where that my arrow shows you now. I sand and I polish this piece and I part it off. Now, once I've parted it off, I face up the main body again and I make a female jam chuck. And the female jam chuck enables me to do the next process on that base, which I've just parted off. There's that piece now fitted into that jam chuck. And as you can see, you've got that little lip here above the main body. I take that off and then I dish the top. This is now going to be dished to make my base for the project. There I are, showing you. Unfortunately, I have to wear a glove. I've got to put a towel. Battery. I have to wear a glove because I have Raynaud's disease, and on the rest, it will freeze my fingers and they go absolutely white. I don't wear it all the time though. Now, once I've done that base and I've dished it and sanded and polished it, I take off that female jam chuck and I face up the front of the piece and I mark up a circle on there, in this particular case, of 50 mil. I then drill that 50 mil and take it down until I can fit in. And unfortunately, I forgot to take a photograph, so I've taken a photograph of the demo I did at the club. And this is the demo, and you can see I've now fitted a clock face into that recess. Whilst I'm on this picture, I also mark 5 mil away from that face, a pencil line around that face. I bring the tailstock up and I very gently marked pencil marks there using my idiot stick jig. I'll mark it so that you can see it better. This is the main body, but this is also part of the body up to that line. So I bring the tailstock up just to give me extra stability to be sure that I don't have any problems. And I start to face off the bowl, and you can see it's slightly like a sphere, but not quite. And as I go through the photograph, you'll notice the pencil line on the face here, which is the distance between the clock. Don't know what happened there.
What are we making here, Don? I'm confused. I thought we were making the spinner top thing.
No,
making something else.
Something's gone wrong, and I've gone up 200. Right. Let's go back. For some reason, I've got.
There you go. That's good. That's a good picture right there. We see it.
This is the one I wanted. I don't go back one. Right, there we are. We've started still shaping this body. No, it's not the spinners, John. It's another project altogether. You can see me getting it down even finer now at this point. Now this point has got to come right down to almost a point. So again, what I do is I take it down a little bit more. I sand and I polish the body. I part it off. But then I make a mail, still using the same piece of wood that I used right at the beginning. I now make a mail jam chuck, and I fit the body onto that male jam chuck, and I remove the point. And that is what the product is at the end.
Are those glued together or balanced?
No, is there anything on the share before I come out the share? Anybody got any questions? No? Right, I'll come out of share and I will now show you the product. There's the base.
Okay.
And there's the clock.
Okay, now fit them together and show us what the ways they can go. Hold it up a little bit, a little closer to your face. There you go. Now move the clock around a bit while holding the base still. All right, I see what I see what you're doing. That's a good project. Does the clock part bottom out in the base part? It looked to me like it almost bottomed out in there.
It's what I've did. The clock is 5 mil, and I went 10 mil deep. So that you've got a 5 mil gap between the base of the clock and the base of the body.
I meant the body of the round form itself on the cup in the base.
Well, here.
Yeah.
It's dished out.
Okay, it is dished out. It's a dish out. Yeah.
And then with the curve on the body, it sits literally in the cup.
It looks like there's some positions where it doesn't quite sit, though. Is that right?
It's just slightly, yeah. It's because I'm holding it. When it sits on the table and I'm not wiggling it around, it sits quite comfortably.
All right.
I'm holding it there.
It's called a Turmkreisel.
Okay, now show us what that does.
My video will be out here for too long. This is just so cute. So it makes a great executive desk toy.
And that works by lowering the center of gravity of the top. Is that right?
Yeah,
So
wait for it. Wait for it.
Hey, Mike, what do you call that again? Spell it.
It's a Turmkreisel, Turmkreisel.
Yeah. So can you show us the inside of the top part so you can see actually how it hangs on? There you go.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. It's like a bell almost. Well, how about the dimensions? Are the dimensions critical, or are you kind of
No, Bert, I'll let you pick up from there because you've done different sizes and turned some smaller ones in one piece spinners.
So there's my Turmkreisel. I was spinning this last time, and this one here is a little different than some of them because if you look at it straight on, the little spinner, you can't see the spinner. So the spinner is actually recessed. And on this one here, the spinner is protruding a little bit, right? It still works. And on this one here, this is a simpler one to make. it's the spinner portion is sticking out about 1/8 of an inch, and they all work and they don't fall off. But the
I made them one time. The top that spins and don't fall off.
but when you're making these that are recessed, that's a real challenge because the back side of that little spinner needs to be perpendicular so so it has a square edge to grab. If it's tapered in there, then sometimes it'll just ramp itself off. And then the other critical, well, it's not critical, but thing to notice that if you had an imaginary line going straight up, this angle between the handle and the vertical should be a little less than 90 degrees. This one here is probably a little bit too much further away, like it could be a little lower. But you'll notice where the bottom, and same on Mike's, where the bottom here is touching the spindle, that's where you would adjust it. If you wanted to make it hang a little bit lower, you just take a little bit more meat off of here so that it can hang down a little bit further.
Yeah, Bert's got a single piece spinner on the one he's showing, and mine's got a handle on it, so you can use contrasting wood.
And that's this one here is like Mike's. It's got contrasting wood, and it's got a handle on it, and it's you can use just about anything. Any scrap you've got will work. And the simplest ones to make are the one piece. Like it's really nice for new woodturners or people that haven't done a lot of face work or whatever, because there's face work or bowl turning on the base, the spindle turning, and then this is spindle turning on the one piece one, and this is face grain turning on the on this one. The critical thing with face grain though is you'll notice face grain's not very strong. And so when you're cutting that little spindle, if you get too aggressive, you just lose it.
One of the lessons learned for me was if you turn the top out of one piece, don't use branch wood, because chances are it's not going to run true. It's going to have an uneven distribution in it.
Yeah.
Bert challenged me into making a triangular tower top. So that's
love it. I love it.
That's the top. My painting has to get a little bit better, but this is kind of magnified because it's only about 2 inches or a little bit less in diameter. So I just have to move up, go back. So that's the bottom to show that it's really triangular. And I cheated a little bit by first hollowing this out and then putting the tip in.
So that spinning tenon is mortised in?
Yes, it is.
A separate piece?
It is. And the top as well.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
What kind of tool did you use to do the recess behind the tip? It looks like a better solution than coming in at an angle with a parting tool which is the way I did it.
2 pieces. You can see it's different woods as well. That's sycamore, okay. And that is beech. Okay. So that's just turned separately, and there's a hole all the way going through from the top to this opening here, and I just squeezed it into the hole, try to get a press fit so that I could try different tip configurations or sizes to get the best result. And when I got that one, I put it back on the lathe and did a little bit more work on the tip to have it really in the center of the top. But when you glue it in, it might be a little bit out of the middle. So I rechucked it and reworked it after gluing it in. So that's the body, just another piece where I try to get these dots better. So it's just a practice piece. and it's got a hole that goes all the way through, and the tip has got a 10, and then it's put into this or glued into this hole. And then you can make the tip just using an ordinary parting tool to get the recess and then put it in. And then on the other side, it has got a flat here. And I used some double-sided tape with a hole in it and made this little thing here and held this in a collet chuck, so I could put the lower piece onto it and press it against the double-sided tape, and that gave me enough hold to rework the tip a little bit to get it really centered. And then I glued the other part, the upper part, into the hole. So half the hole is, or half the depth of the hole is used for the tip to glue it in, and the other half from the top is used to glue this part of the body into the lower part, and that has got a 10 as well. Then the upper part, yeah. And then I added these little arms.
Somebody wanted a sphere jig and they were interested in making spheres, and I got back home and thought, it's been a while since I made some spheres. So I made these, some flooring, I glued it up, stuck it on the lathe, turned it to round cylinders, and whatever the diameter was is the size of the ball. And I'm turning spheres. I got a centering jig here that gives me a center line, and I turn them all by hand. I got cup chucks to do the sanding. And then this sphere is probably within 10 or 15 thousandths of an inch of being a perfect sphere. Then I needed to cut the eye holes. So I made this jig for doing Easter eggs. And I thought I should be able to use that to hold the owl's head so I can cut the eyeballs. And it worked like a charm. It's quick and easy. It just screws together. And
is that a vacuum chuck? What is that going on there?
No, that's a piece of irrigation PVC pipe fitting coupling, and it just screws on. The lid just screws on. I made these wooden discs to fit inside the cap, and there's a disc like that that's coved on the inside of this, so the ball centers itself. It sets in a little cove, and I'm using my tailstock with an extension so that it'll fit through the hole in this disc, and then I can screw the coupling on, and it screws on nice and tight. And I take the tailstock away and cut the eye facets, and then I drill out, put eyeballs in. And then when I go to the second one, I do the same thing. The screw threaded piece fits over the extension so that I can center the second ball or second eye hole and jam it in and cut it, and that's what I end up with.
You could use that to make like Chinese sphere within sphere.
There's so many things that you could use this for since I got it made. I originally made it for making Easter eggs, but I've recently started doing it like this. And my next step is to set it up so that my ball will stick out a little bit more. And then I'm going to do Don's fluted eyeballs on a series of owls here in the future. But the interesting thing was that in order to center it, I needed to put this extension in. This is just a Morris Taper 2 extension that I'd learned from Barbara Dill for doing some stuff. And it works great because it's long enough that I can take this cap and hang it on the extension so that the extension goes through so I can center the ball. It's real easy. You just hold the ball up, put it on the center, and push it into the cove. And it's quick and easy. You don't have to tighten any bolts or anything. You just tighten the cap on, and you're done. Bob's your uncle, and you got an owl, a perfect sphere, and you can make owls.
A universal jam chuck within a
absolutely
size range. So, what is the size range of that you can make using that?
This one here is it's an 1.5 inch coupling, and I just went and bought a 2-inch coupler, or 2.5-inch coupling. It can do up to 3 inches. So I've got a small one, a medium one, and a large one. I got an 1.5-inch coupling, a 2-inch coupling, and a 2.5-inch coupling. So I've got 3 of these types of chucks, and you just change the little disc on the end, and you just cut the disc whatever size you need. Like it's if you need a bigger hole, it's wood, so you just make a bigger one.
So that
But
is
the
a wood
maximum,
disc. That is a wood disc in there.
yeah, this is a
Like
wooden
a
disc,
rubber
and
gasket. Am I right?
yeah,
You
I
probably
got a
said
little
that.
rubber gasket on it so that it kind of doesn't mark the wood. But this is wood,
All right.
so I can make it any size I want. So you can have as much protrusion out of the chuck as much as if I needed to stick out further, I would just cut the hole bigger.
Hey, Bert, what's on the backside that's driving the ball?
On the backside, driving the ball is a little disc, just about like this one here, but it's inside and it's got a cove and a little piece of foam, and the wood behind it is threaded onto my spindle. So it's just a wooden block that's threaded. In my case, it's inch and a quarter 8, and then that PVC is just epoxied into a groove, and yeah, and
So it's basically
away
a
we go.
jam chuck is at the root of this.
It's like a jam chuck, but you don't have to worry about being so exact because there's a cove on the inside and a cove on the inside of this disc, and it self-centers on the roundness of the ball.
Right.
And when you screw this thing together, it holds it tight enough. I have learned that you got to tighten it pretty good, or I got a rubber disc in there now. I put a piece of rubber gasket material on the inside so that the ball doesn't slip once you screw it up by hand. You don't need to wrench it. You just screw it in by hand, and the foam on the backside and the rubber on the front side holds that ball secure enough. Light cuts, and it just works. And it's fun, quick, and easy. I can do a whole bunch of balls in real short order.
Well, very, very nice. Very
I
nice.
like that better than what Springett talked about, where he had you had to make this chuck and it had to be exactly the size. This is a much nicer design.
I tried making Springett's one as well, and that's where the inspiration came for coming up with something that was different. And I forget where I seen this. I didn't come up with this idea. I seen it somewhere, and then I remembered it, and then so I bought some fittings. So I bought the small fittings, and then I went to a bigger one because I needed bigger eggs. And I just recently got a 2.5-inch one, which will let me do a 3-inch ball. So that's my next step, is to use the big one with the 3-inch ball. And it's just fun. It's just another jig.
Hey, Bert, why did you use irrigation fixtures? Can't you get PVC that's threaded?
Oh yeah, you can, but this stuff just works. I mean, everything's already built. All you do is cut a groove, screw it in, and it's done. And it's got big coarse threads, and it just worked, and it's cheap. And if you buy one fitting, you make 2 jigs because you got a coupling on each end.
We should be able to find that around Lancaster County, no problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I found mine at a home hardware store here, and it was like $10. So for $10, they get 2, and the 2.5-inch one was $18, and they get 2. So for every coupling's got a thread on each end, so it's great. It's simple and easy and functional. That's what I can use it for so many things now.
Okay, that's a great device. Appreciate that, Bert.
I call that a banana bowl. It's made out of a limb. You can see the pith goes through the center. So you can make a 6-inch bowl out of a 3-inch limb. And then the other, okay, that's a salt and pepper shaker. Some folks, it was interesting, some of the comments, some people thought this was multi-axis just because I cut this slope. And then I have one person, giving me suggestions of how to drill these holes more uniformly with the drill press. I thought that was interesting because I thought they looked pretty uniform. But anyway, I got this idea from, this is my suggestion for the 4-Ways video, but I made a set of salt and pepper shakers, a little different design based on Richard Raffin's book. And then we came back in a circle, and it's my turn to pick the topic. And the salt and pepper shaker topic apparently resonates with a lot of people. And I finally decided it was because it was something that anybody thought they could make, and it was something that anybody could use. So it's become popular. It's been out there about a day or two.
Hey, Mike.
Tell us what the sequence is here, and it looks like they're tilted on this or multi-axis.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the chucking is done on the where the holes are drilled, so you can hollow it out, and so it's hollowed out, and it's got a little recess for a bung. Then you part it off with a flush cut saw at an angle, and then you can tune it up on a belt sander if necessary. And then I drill the holes in a pattern.
Don Smith would recognize this. He showed years ago, or a while ago, a umbrella napkin holder, and I scaled this down, and it's really gone over great. I'll show it. Actually, the one he showed was big, and it was gorgeous. It was ornate. In fact, I think he made one. I'm sure he made one. But anyway, they had big cloth napkins in those days for the royalty. And so I started making one, and I thought, why would I put an umbrella handle on the end of here? So I put a cup on here with toothpicks in it.
Okay.
But anyway,
how many pieces is that now? Count them up.
This is in 3 pieces.
So
the bottom piece is a block of wood, and I turn the recess in it, and then I grab that in the chuck and turn the bottom, put a recess in that, and turn the whole thing.
Okay, so now that's a bowl with a center, center post. Okay, and so then there's a stem, and is that the stem is all one piece or 2 pieces?
The stem is 1 piece. It's about a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches, all the way up to here, and then I glue 2 blocks of wood on the end of that. This is canary coming up the middle, and it's mahogany glued on both sides of it.
Well, how did you get this thing in the middle there? If that's one, if the stem is all one piece, how'd you get that middle?
Oh no, this piece is separate.
How did you get it on there?
No, wait. First off, to make the stem, I use a piece about 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches, all the way up from one end to the other. And then on the end, I glue a couple of blocks on here, a couple inches long, just big enough to make this stat.
Okay.
Then I put this between centers.
Yeah.
And I turn this round, and I rough turn this like a 1/2 inch round. Then I slide this whole thing down in my headstock and grab it right here with my chuck, turn the inside of here and turn the outside of here, and then put a cone center in here and a center in the other end of this, and turn the shaft.
You still haven't answered how you get this umbrella on that shaft.
The umbrella is made separately. Here again, this is 1 piece of wood. This is 5.5 by 1 inch or something. I turn the recess in the flat piece of wood right here. And then I grab that, and I turn the whole bottom out of here. And then I put this, I'm gonna demo it SWAT, and I'm gonna show how I do this. This is really neat. I'm doing a demo on Morse tapers. I make a wooden Morse taper, fits in the headstock. Has a 7/16 prong sticking out of it that's split and drilled. I slide this. Now this whole side is turned and sanded and finished, so there's no way to grab that. I slide this over the Morse taper, put the screw in there, and turn the whole inside of this. Okay.
At what point do you make the slots?
And then after that, I make the slots on a bandsaw.
So before assembly. So now to assemble that goes on the other, hold it up sideways like you had it before. You don't have this, the base isn't on there yet, right? So this is a dowel. So you can slide that up and against the shoulder that you've turned on that shaft. Is that right?
I also put a shoulder on here so that registers it, yes.
Yeah.
But the first one I made didn't have that. It was, oh man. Anyway. So that registers, and then you just shove it in there. But
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. Very cute piece. Any questions?
I've made these things really go over great. They put different napkins in them for, I don't know how many of these I've made, but this thing kind of thing, but you could just pull the napkin out.
But who do you get to load it? I mean, you got to have a handy grandchild for that one.
My wife does this. I'm not qualified to do that. Also, it's sized so it'll hold cocktail napkins, the smaller napkins.
Yeah.
But that's gone over really great.
I belong to these people with a genetic defect who can't throw any wood away. And my neighbors keep giving wood to me, so I ended up with a lot of smaller branches, and I wanted to do something with them. And I turned some wheat pots I want to show you. So they are between, I think the small one here is about 3 inches, and the large one maybe, I don't know, 12 inch, no, not 12, 8 inches, something like that high. Yeah, and it was quite a lot of fun to turn them and get the shapes right. The wood is yew. I hope I pronounce it right. This
Yes.
one and this one. This is, the small one is lilac. And this is a really nice wood here. It's sugar loaf spruce. And it's got all these little nice branches in here. And this one is Golden Shower, the one in the background. And I saw an article by Jim actually in Woodturning magazine shortly after I had done these and compared the shapes. So I think they are quite similar, these here. A difference is I felt I had to round over the edge down here, and as the wood wasn't, or the branch wasn't symmetrical, I just took a little sanding disc and rounded the edge over here so that it's lifted a little bit off the surface, and did the same with these. And yeah, and I think that looks nice. And also I left a little bit of the branch on here. I think that's another design alteration compared to the ones Jim showed. But I agree with Jim, they are really nice little objects to make.
They're very beautiful shapes, Kai.
Yeah, thank you.
And the grains, yeah, I'm presuming that like on the left one, you have a little bit of dark, then it gets light and dark. So you were having fun figuring out what the wood's going to expose as you get into it.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of bark left. So I have a few more photos. So that's the golden shower one with some flowers put in. And I put test tubes into them. So I can put water in there, but you have to change the water every day with a kind of a flower that big.
Hey Kai,
Yeah.
your stuff is beautiful. My question is, do you have, now you're leaving the pith, do you have any problems with cracking checks?
Not so far yet, and I hope they will stay like that. This one has been lying around for several years, so I hope I won't get any cracks in there. I have some more recently cut wood, like the sugarloaf spruce, but that seems to be rather stable, so I hope it won't crack. And I drilled out, this is about 4 inches deep, the hole for the test tube. So at least I drilled out part of it. It's not hollow, as in hollow turning.
Right.
Just drilled out.
Thank you. Beautiful.
So that's another one. And I also tried to turn some wooden flowers when there is no more supply of fresh ones in winter. So that was one try, using a needle head in here, or a needle stuck through the flower top here and into the straw. And I also tried some colored ones. Again, I watched a video by Mike Pierce before I did that. So all the ideas were already around, but it's good fun doing these, and I colored them using dye, spirit dye, and acrylic paint.
Are they all one piece? The stem, is that a separate piece, like a dowel, or did you turn
it
that
is. Yeah, it's
to
just kind of a straw from higher grass that I got from one of my dog walks. I brought back with me, and then I colored it with dye as well. And here is a little bit of the acrylic paint on at the top as well. And this is part of the turned flower, the upper part, and that is painted with acrylic paint as well. The problem was, once I put dye on this, the dye was soaked into the wood, and I had a lot of blue dots in the lower part here. So to cover them, I put acrylic paint on them. It wasn't possible to use green dye here because the blue was shining through it. Yeah. Okay. Another one.
So nice.
So
Yeah.
Kai, did you use that skew to make those flowers? Like I bought one of the skews from a company in Germany that's called Sharp and Soft, or Sharp and Smooth, with a little bit of a hook on the end of a skew specifically designed for making those flowers, and it works perfectly.
Yes, I did actually. I ground one of my skews myself into this hook version, and this works nicely. You can do it with an ordinary skew as well, but the one with the hook rolls the leaves more nicely, or better. Right. So that is one of the wooden flowers I did for my wheat pots, and I rolled them, and then I used some spirit stain to color them.
Is that combined three different flowers, or were you able to successfully color one?
It's just one that I colored. I started with a yellow, and then I used the red, which covered a little bit of the yellow that had been sucked into the other fibers or leaves here. And then the middle I did using black acrylic paint to cover the yellow stain that got into the middle. That's the problem using stain. It gets everywhere, and once it's traveled along the fibers and it's inside the wood, it's difficult to hide it. You see some dots like here and here and here where the red from the outside came through, but
that's
it's
so the
okay
real
for
flowers too. That's how real flowers are also.
yeah.
If you take a close look inside any of these real flowers, they're very variable like that.
Okay, so these are flowers I did with an ordinary skew chisel using wet hazelnut wood. And you see that they are quite fluffy on the outside, and then the middle was turned using a gouge. And these are flowers that are rolled using the modified skew chisel, which has kind of a little hook ground in here. And this gave me a far tighter roll of the flower leaves or petals. And my theory is that the shaving kind of rolls over this edge here and up here, and that makes it bend. like you can see in the right flower, that I did not do. Someone else did that, and I photographed it at a symposium. But here you can really see the bent shape of the petals done with a modified skew chisel. Traditionally, they are used for rolling these kind of Christmas trees that you can see on the right-hand side. And with the flowers, you make kind of longer or bigger rolls, or at least I do. And these are quite small, so just kind of one turn or something like this, and then you do it again and again and again until you reach the whole thing. So this is a close-up of the skew chisel. Again, it's not mine. I took these photos at a symposium as well. Here you can see the hook, and it's kind of rounded a little bit towards the bevel of the skew here, and that's from another.
Not sharp. It's not sharp inside there.
No, it's rounded here, and that makes the shaving roll along the surface or bend it around. So, and I tried that. I took the videos with my iPhone, so have a look. I couldn't get any closer, unfortunately.
So you roll them back layer by layer.
Yes.
Huh.
And you can see how the shavings bend in the rolling process. I just restart.
That wood has to be dead green, doesn't it?
Yeah. So just do that again, and you can see how the shavings are bent back here, and I think that's the idea, having this hook. At least this is my theory. So
I think you're right. Anyway, that's yeah, really interesting.
Can you buy those chisels anywhere, or do you have to make them?
You can buy them. I tried grinding them myself. It's not that difficult using a Dremel tool and a little grindstone in it.
And there was a comment made about it having to be green wood. That works okay, really quick. But if you've got really, really dry wood, stick it in a bucket of water for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then it works just like green wood. I've got some hard maple that I've made flowers with by just dipping it in water and then doing exactly what Kai did, and it's amazing.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what they do with these little Christmas trees as well. It's linden wood. Do you call that linden wood?
Linden is basswood. They're popular.
Basswood. Right? Basswood. Okay, basswood. And they kind of moist the wood a little bit, leave it overnight in a moist environment to soften the fibers again, and then they roll them. So that keeps the fibers from, or the shavings from breaking when you roll them. With dry wood, the danger of breaking the shavings is higher. Okay, another little bit of video.
Yeah.
So it's just the same thing filmed from another perspective.
It's a wide tool, though. How wide is that tool?
The tool is about maybe an inch, 25 millimeters.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Cool.
Yeah. At the beginning, you can see that I made a mistake. The point of the tool didn't dig into the wood far enough, and I turned a little bit of kind of a cone shape, So the shaving got thinner and thinner and thinner, and then it broke off. So that's something you have to be careful with. You have to move the tool parallel to the tool rest and make sure that the short point stays at the same level under the wood surface. So I can show you my mistake again. And here it breaks off.
Yeah.
And in the back, you can see that it's a little bit beveled. So it's the diameter is smaller here than it is here. And then when the shaving gets too thin, that is a problem. Yeah. And that's a flower made using an ordinary skew chisel. So if you don't want to buy special tools and try it anyway, and I just play this as well. That's obviously the outside, and that's the back. When turning the back, you have to be careful and round it over. You have to be careful not to get or to turn or not to take too much wood away. Otherwise, these shavings will break off here. So if it's just about maybe 2 millimeters or 1.5 millimeters that holds them. And if I round that over more, the first layer of shavings will break away and the flower will be kind of thinner. So first, I just remove the bark and make it round because they seldom grow round, these branches. And then I roll the...
Yeah, just rolling in with the corner of the skew, sure. This
I use the short point for rolling.
So it looks like the tool technique is actually the same on both of them. Is that right, Kai?
Yeah. And then I just take a gouge and then round the middle over.
Yeah, sure. You can get shavings like that when you don't mean to, when you're working with someone with a green branch too. So this is exploiting what might have happened when you didn't intend it to. Good moves.
What speed are you turning?
The question is, what speed were you turning?
Just a second. Will be over. Yeah. Okay. So,
are there comments for Kai?
A fun technique.
Yes.
And it doesn't cost anything. You just have to walk along the woods or something like that and collect some hazelnut, and then you can play, and it's good fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Kai, I think you just got a way for me to get my granddaughter onto the lathe.
And people just love these because they don't have to water them.
That's right. Yeah. By the way, I didn't color them on the lathe. I colored them after I took them off the lathe using a small brush and spirit stain. You could also use an airbrush if you have one to color them.
Couldn't you
on
just
the lathe
dip
would be a
it?
great way to paint your glasses.
Well, you could just dip it in and make a little container of dye, water, and.
Yeah, if you want to have a uniform color for the whole flower, you can do that.
Yeah, try it.
Actually, I started with the blank and the block between centers. So on one side, I had a chuck with long jaws and only 2 jaws, and 2 jaws I removed. So just 2 opposite jaws gripping the block. And then on the other side, I used a long drill bit to drill the hole for the test tube that I put into there. So the first step was drilling, and I did that
while the thing was fixed to the chuck, which was a bit, I didn't like that much because it sounded like a propeller turning. But after the drilling, I removed it from the chuck, sawed the circle, and put it onto my my vacuum chuck to turn the outside here, and also to round the top over. And I found a steel ruler that I bent over the surface helps to find a nice curve, or to obtain a nice curve on the surface. It will show any gaps here, for example, a little one, and then you have to do some more turning and sanding in this area till you get the curve. The next thing that I tried was after turning, I cut off. No, sorry, I didn't cut off. That was the natural edge of my square wooden plank. That was going to be the foot, but I sanded it a little bit, and then I wanted to add another piece of wood here to make it more stable when it stands. And I first drilled a hole using a 12 millimeter drill, half an inch drill, and it wandered off because I didn't want to drill the complete hole, but just part of the hole, and the rest was air here, no wood, and that makes the drill wander. So I didn't like that at all. It didn't look nice. So I ended up with making this kind of fixture here, glued it with hot melt glue to the foot of the vase, and I had drilled a hole in it first to take a Forstner bit. So after that was glued, I don't know, here you have a picture of it. After it was glued to the vase, it had two purposes. It stopped the vase from rocking because it already was turned round here, and it gave me the right position for the Forstner bit. It guided the Forstner bit into the wood. So I got the kind of hole I wanted, and then I turned the cross pin or whatever it is, and also used hot melt glue to put it to this piece of wood here, and then I pushed it along my table saw, or sawed along it till I had the right thickness to put into the vase down here. And that makes it rather stable now.
My wife or my daughter came around. She wanted to find her old rolling pin, and I couldn't find it in the house. So what I did is actually got a piece of curly maple, and it turned out rather nicely. Is that showing all right with the?
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
So it's just I took my wife's grandmother's rolling pin and just made a duplicate of it. Half an hour's worth of work. It took a lot more effort just because of it. Spalted maple isn't exactly or the tiger maple isn't exactly the easiest thing. It still wants a cut out of it, so I had to take a rough turning of it. But there's no finish on it. It's all just.
What's the diameter? What's the diameter?
2.5 inches.
Okay.
2.5
Straight
inches.
off the skew?
Pardon? All skew.
Straight
Yeah,
off
sure.
the skew?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, no, I'm sorry. This polish is. I got it. So when I was off the skew, I was about. I had to do a little bit more than that because of the chipping out that was occurring. So no, I didn't get it off the skew. I polished it down, and then that's a BO polish. But I have had some luck getting it a good finish off the skew with it. It depends on the wood. Anyway, it's just something I just thought. Well, I need something to hit something with. Actually, no. Rolling pin.
Is that a practice piece?
Sorry?
A good practice piece.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a question about the finish. I think a rolling pin, isn't there like a rule of thumb you shouldn't go over like 220 or something? I heard something about that once and I didn't know if that's true or not.
Let me put it this way. If you want to take it down to 220, I'll put it back on the lathe and repolish it. I haven't heard that either, to be honest. I think 220 was because 250 years ago when these were made, that's the best you could do.
I think it has to do with how it holds flour.
Does it?
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's what I heard too.
I'll come back at you now. I'll find out for you.
Yeah, the baker's going to tell you.
The baker's going to tell me, and I'll tell her if it doesn't hold flour, put it in water and let the fibers stand up because they didn't water this or anything like that. So anyway,
You could always go back and hit it with 220, you know, and there you'd be.
I'll give her a piece of 220 sandpaper to go with it.
Doug, Doug, two questions. One is, why didn't you make her a French roller pin, a French rolling?
Oh, because it was a duplicate of my wife's grandmother's pin, rolling
Okay,
pin.
that leads me to the second question. So your grandmother's had solid handles on that she had a roll in her hand as she rolled it.
Yes.
My mom's had a metal rod through, and when you rolled it, it rolled without turning the handles. The only problem was it got really worn, and over the years it got what we call really woogity. I don't know, wonder where it ever got to. But
Well, this is going to be. I'm going to make this one comment. Then is that this with the polish on the outside on the ends here,
yeah,
that makes it so it just really roll. It's almost like it has a metal down the middle anyway. You don't really have. I mean, this just runs very very smoothly in your hands.
Good.
Anyway,
from the food point of view, it's much healthier because with the old rod going through the middle, you have to make certain that's nice and clean. Otherwise, you're picking up crap on between the handles and the rolling pin.
All kinds of
The solid one's far better.
I've been making these little fidgets. These are going to be my last year I made whistles. This year I'm making fidgets. And of course, there's 3 magnets involved, and they're like washers, ring magnets. So this is a drilling exercise, a drilling and gluing exercise. You've got to make a block like this. So you drill this big hole. This has to be half of the thickness of the magnet, roughly. Because you got to catch it. You're really working off centers. You got to catch the magnet in there so it's right tight. So this is 3/4 inch, and then the center bore is 3/8 of an inch. So I glue these up with epoxy, and when that's done, they look like this. And then I can turn them on the lathe. I'll have one of these. This is the stub from a shaft, because you got to turn the shafts as well. I'll have this in a chuck, and I can get it jammed on there, and I can bring one of these up over here, and I can turn both sides of that and get it pretty good and turn that bead pretty well. So I can turn a bead or a globe or anything that way with these things. And then if they're going to be square, I just go to the disc sander and clean them up with the disc sander and then hand sand them. But I'm not saying, I'm listening to you guys with 1200 grit. I'm not going anywhere near that. So there's 7 pieces of wood in this little fidget. So, and plus there's $6 worth of magnets in it. So it's not a commercial product, but everybody I've handed one to has enjoyed having it in their hands. So right now my current experiment is to make different sized ones, and they can go two squares in a ball or 2 balls in a square, and like that. And this one spins as well, and this is little bit of applied magnetism. So that's my demo for the morning.
That's kind of neat. Yeah.
I've been playing with magnets for a long time. So I made one of these a couple of weeks ago, just to see how many magnets, what that was like. This is pretty tight. This one here is pretty hard, very tight spring. And I made one of these to see, okay, do I need, 4 magnets or 5 magnets, or what's the ideal size? And no, 3, one movable thing between 2 blocks seems to be pretty good. and nice geometric shapes that are really the same size seems to be most pleasing to the eye. So I got 7 more of them over here in various stages of glue up, and that's because I have 5 grandchildren and they all have partners, and I didn't last year. I was chastised for bringing them all whistles. They made a hell of a racket. These aren't going to make any noise.
I probably started a little earlier than July, but not really to do Christmas ornaments. More it was just to practice. So I've been working on my little snowman, and actually, I think it was Nick Cook. I watched his video from the symposium this summer, and he did little snowman with more like Richard Findley's festive challenge this year. And so he used puff paint for the face, and I used a little yarn for the um, I guess scarf. And then this one, okay, when I originally learned to turn spindles, which isn't that long ago, Bob said to me, once you make 30 of these, you should be pretty good at that. So this is number 29. And I was going to give him number 30, but wood turning is not linear. You don't just get better. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. So he gets number 29 because number 30 wasn't quite up to standard. Then the other thing Richard Findley had a challenge, a festive challenge this year, and so he got everybody to suggested that they make a snowman with. Okay, my icicle at the bottom is a little fat, but that I think is a representation of my skew chisel skills. Not so good. And it's got a little nub at the end because that's the best I could do. Then this one's a little bit slimmer. Okay, maybe not so much, but in my mind it's a little bit slimmer. And then this one is a little bit, okay, and it's a bit better. I was going to make a little ball, but this is poplar, so it's a little bit soft and it broke off. So it looks better. It looks like I have, and okay, I am getting better at the skew. Still a lot of work required. And then my final items are, okay, little Christmas tree.
Are you selling these or giving them to friends and family? What are you doing?
Oh, giving them away. Yes, although I was in Tofino, which is
I know where that is.
West Coast, and a little tree that looked somewhat similar to this. Not much more decoration than this, maybe a slimmer bottom and a little wider at the bottom. $43 in a gift shop. I couldn't believe it. Anyways, needless to say, I didn't pick that up. And then the other two trees. So yeah, those of you selling these might make some good money. So these guys are, I've been working a little bit on the multi-axis, and Mike Peace had a great video out about making, I guess, yeah, you can see that, little colors.
Yeah, we can see that fine, sure.
And
multi-axis
then,
lets you make that slit with the skew, point of the skew again. Yeah.
exactly. And so I'm still, okay, yes, I could have used a parting tool and made that really nice and slim, but no, it's about learning to use my skew better. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with the skew. So those are my decorations. I'm pretty well done, giving them away, and they get a great response from non-woodturners that think you're amazing.
I have a comment about trees. I make a lot of little trees, and I came up with an idea a couple years ago that if somebody has a small child, possibly what you could do is on the bottom of the tree, put down first Christmas, child's name, and put the date. Another idea is for a young couple that got married, possibly make them a nice tree and put on the bottom first Christmas together with the date on it. Just another gimmick.
I really like the bottom of your trees because you've kept the bark on them. That's nice. That's a nice touch.
This is this year's Christmas tree ornaments. A bad connection, I know. So if I just wanted to show the picture, and I'm happy.
How many did you make? How many did you make?
I made these and then 5 more on a kind of production level. So I've made 7 of them so far.
Cool. How many more are you going to make?
I'm making something different right now. So probably that's probably it for this year. But I'm on to soldiers that you stack up the rings.
Well, you're gonna have to tell us about that another time when your connection improves.
Jerry, if you're gonna make those things for Christmas, how do you get in your Christmas list?
Another, fairly simple project. Yeah. I sort of make it up as I go along.
Always
great to see. How many pieces, Jerry? How many pieces in each one?
Three: the hat, the head, and the body. The body's hollow, as I said, and little pieces, the ear, the hands, and the book. And I recommend to anybody who makes figurative stuff, don't forget the ears. And that's something a lot of people will just omit. But the ears mean character. The ears and the hands, you can see, are just slices of a dowel. They're very simply made. There's nothing complex here.
Okay, this is what is this? Every time this is a set of balls. The original set of balls I had were just a set of balls with another ball on top. And well, I made these 10 years ago. And I thought, if I had a pin down here like that, that adds another drive and a tremendous amount of weight on the top. I got a woman, well, I got a couple people buy my work, just buy it. And she had this in her kitchen for, I don't know, 10 years. It was all water spotted and beat up. She says, I spin this every day. But
so now, wait a minute. Does that stick touch the bottom bowl, or is it?
No.
I mean, no, it doesn't.
No, the key to making this thing work is the race has to be spaced, and it's really critical. The race is the really critical part of this whole thing. That has to have a space in between each ball. If these balls touch each other, it's over. Also, the top ball, in most of them that I've made, I sold one last week, the top ball only spreads these other balls. But with
that's just roll, really.
This adds another drive point. It's tangent to those down there, and makes the thing work.
Wait a minute. You mean the stem touches those balls?
The stem touches the side of those balls. Yeah, when I made it, I thought, damn, that's kind of neat. There's a hole down the middle. I could put a pin down there.
Now, does it touch all three of them or just one of them?
It's touching, but well, I think it's touching one at a time. I don't think it's touching all three. Although if it did, these balls are tangent to the race on the bottom and the side here.
Yeah.
This ball's just tangent here, but on this one, with the peg down the middle, it drives on this too. So it's a much different, and I made this thin so you could spin it like this. Anyway, anybody gets tired of wood turning, there's got to have something wrong with them. I'll tell you. They're just every time you do this, there's something else. This doesn't have to be a ball. This could be round on the bottom and flange out here, or do anything to add more mass.
I think that if you take a look at the top point, that shows you how close to spherical all your balls are, because that's actually tracking extremely close to dead on.
These are turned by eye. I do not have a turning jig. And when I first turn, they can go the other way too. If people have asked me that, okay? But anyway, when I turn these and they're done, they're round. Perfect, just about. When the weather changes, it's wood.
Yeah.
Something's going to change. I got a really big set, which was stupid because the bigger the set and the bigger the pieces of wood, masses of wood, rather than like this ball's one piece of wood. That's going to change way more than these that are made out of 3 pieces. But anyway, when
You
it's
say you turn those by eye. Are
Yeah.
you doing measuring, or is you just have a good eye?
Well, I use the math.
You make an octagon.
Nobody likes to know the math, but I use the math. When when you've got a when you've got a say this is 4x4 inch cylinder.
You see, come a little more into the camera. You're a little almost outside the camera. There you go.
Oh, I forget which camera I'm on. If you have a 4x4 cube, you turn it around this way, and you know you've got the length of it this way, so you've got this and this defined. To define this tangent point, I worked this out, and after I spent an hour and a half working it out, it's on the web. Anyway, you come in 0.5856 inches, or times the diameter times the radius, 0.5856 times the radius. That gives you the distance in here from the end of the cube, and also from the top down. So when you cut a straight plane across here, you've defined the tangent point between these 2 points.
You've made an octagon.
Yes, but then you've got very little to take out on each one of these to make a ball.
And you've already, the centers of the we were talking about this earlier, the centers of each of those flat faces are, once you've made the octagon cross section, are on the surface of the finished ball. So you never touch those spots again.
That's right. That's right. And all you got to do is round out that little corner or that little edge and make that round, and you've got it.
80 grits your uncle.
You got it. How did you know that? Anyway, I can make these. Problem is, when I sell them, I have to make another set, and I don't know. I got many other things I want to do.
Do you finish them off between centers, between cone centers, then when you're doing the final round cutting?
Yeah, I have cup centers with inner tube on them, and the finish is a wax. I don't like wax finishes, and that's why it had to be refinished, because I don't know, she got drops of water on them or something. Wax doesn't hold up good at all, but it's nice and smooth, and it makes things work good.
So what do you sell them for?
Renaissance, 450, 500, just the balls. It depends on the size too. Yeah. I had
more questions for Jim?
I had a guy in Raleigh buy one from me, and he walked around one day and he looked at these things. He came back the next day, he spun them, he brought his wife, and he bought them at $450. Anyway, a year later, I was doing a demo in 50 miles from there, and I happened to look up and I see this guy come through the door and come right at me. I thought, oh my God, the balls blew up or fell apart. Who knows what wood'll do? Anyway, he says, I got to tell you, my neighbor comes in the house. He doesn't even talk to me anymore. He goes over and spins the balls and goes home. And he says, my kids fought over this so much, I had to put it in my will. He says, you can't believe those things. They're a collector's item. But anyway, they have a lot of fun.
Well, it's a fun toy to make. I've made a few of those too. There's dimensions available online or by experiment, you know.
Wood shop. Thank God for wood.